Hey everybody, my name is Rob Phelan. I am the author of M is for Money, and I'm here today to show you how to make the Stash the Squirrel money box. So M is for Money, if you're not familiar with it, is a children's book for 3 to 8-year-olds that introduces money words and helps normalize conversations about money. It's a wonderful starting resource for introducing your 3 to 8-year-olds to money words, money concepts, and opening up doors to conversations about money. So the reason why I chose a squirrel as my little mascot and why this is going to be a squirrel money box is that squirrels are an animal that naturally stash money away. They save money. And in their case, their money is their acorns. So I wanted to create something that was a little bit different to a piggy bank, something that you could make at home very easily. You have all the materials that you need around the average house. So you can use a milk carton, so say ones that you get in a school as the basis of this project, or you can print out your own version, which is what I'm going to show you today. So what I've got for you is 4 different versions of the same box, and you can choose which one makes the most sense for you. I have one that has a window built in, and this is mostly because I'm an advocate for having containers that are clear or at least see-through in some way so that kids can see how their money is accumulating. I don't like closed ones where they can't see what they have. So if you have the material available, I want you to put a window into your money box. So I've got one without a window, just in case you don't have the material needed, and it has then the words spend, save, give, invest on it. I suggest you color those in before you start. I have one with a tab built in at the top. So the hardest part about this was creating a money box that could be resealed and opened again super easy without having to use glue, paper clips, or staples, because we want to keep them kid safe, and those are all kind of probably encourage ripping anyway. So what I came up with is 2 different systems, and I'm going to show you both of those. But the first one is using this tab system. So when you cut out the 2 tabs, they will interlock at the top and it will hold the box together. So I have both of those available with and without the window. And then the other system is you're going to cut out basically a band of cardstock at the end. So it's a little band of cardstock. You're going to loop it, you're going to paste it to itself, and then you're going to go back to your box and it will just slide over it and hold your box together. So money box, when it's done, will look something like this. You'll have the window that you can cut out, and then we're going to attach a squirrel to the front and back as well. Included in the printout, or what you got in your digital file, is also the squirrel image. So you have the front part and the back part. And then at the top, if you're going to do the paper band, that's where you're going to find the measurements for that. So you'll cut it out. Any dashed line is a fold. Any solid line is one that you cut along. All right, for today, I'm going to make the one without the tabs on it, and we're going to do the band because I think that's probably the one that's my favorite. And we're going to do the one with the window because again, proponent of using the window, and I want to show you how you can do it. So things that you need, you're going to need scissors for sure, nice sharp scissors. If you're going to do the window, find plastic using something like a container at home. Any of these kind of clamshell containers are great because they have a flat piece of plastic somewhere. Now I'll have to take the sticker off of this one to use the top, but the bottom also has a nice window of plastic that would fit over that black space on the paper. So I'm going to cut out my window of plastic. I'm going to paste it behind here to create that window effect that allows kids to see in and see what's inside the box. You want a ruler available. I'm going to show you why soon, but we're going to need a ruler, not for measuring, but for what we call scoring. And you'll need a tool for scoring. Now, this is optional. You can do it without this, but I do find that the box folds together nicer and stays in a stronger shape when you do score it. So scoring is you're going to kind of trace a line along the folds, and it makes the paper more inclined to fold exactly where you want it to. I'm going to use a drawing compass for my scoring. So I'm going to use the pointy part of the compass to do my score lines. The edge of a scissors will work. A pen that the ink has run out on is a great one to do this with as well. You can get a pencil and put like a piece of cloth over the top so it doesn't run through. But those are some options. And then, of course, there are actual scoring tools. So if you're someone who's a bit crafty at home and you have one of those, great, you can use that. Okay, let's get started. So on your, this is the printout for the milk carton shaped item. So you're going to need scissors, and if you're going to decorate it, so your kids are going to draw stuff on it, personalize it a little bit, this is the time to do it. So get your crayons, your markers, coloring pencils, whatever it is, fill in who this box is for. So in my case, this box is for Stash the Squirrel. So that's the name of my character. And then there's the options to draw pictures. Now, this face and this one are going to have the squirrels on them. So there's not a ton of room here for decorating. You've got the space around the windows. You've got the top two parts over here. Everything else is going to be covered by the squirrel's head and tail, so don't worry about it. If you need to add additional labels, like say you're doing this as part of our elementary school coloring competition or something like that, the bottom, so that is this one down here, is where you would write, say, the kid's name and any identifying details that we ask for, so such as email address or teacher name or something like that. So you can put that on the bottom if there's anything like that. All right, so get your scissors out. Anywhere that you see a solid line, we are going to cut out. And you'll notice that, I'm going to come in a little closer here. You'll notice that there is a little bit of spacing between these. So they're slightly, we'll call them trapezoids, that's what they technically are, but they're slightly not at 90 degrees to the rest of the box. And this allows for easier folding. All right, get your scissors out. Let's get started. Okay, so now that your design is cut out, we want to talk about the window and the coin slot. Both of those need to be cut out before you assemble the box. And my preferred way of doing it is with our scoring tool. If you have a box cutter at home, this can be a great one. Now, again, this is not something that your kid would do. This is something that the adult would take over and do. If you're doing it with your child, some things that work well are to get a pen and poke a hole through the middle of the blacked out area and then get your scissors in there and start cutting out. A hole puncher can work great. If you have anything that's sharp, basically, that will just poke through and start a hole you can get your scissors into, that works great. The box cutter, or in my case, my compass point, are going to be my super helpful tools. So how I'm going to do it, you get your ruler out and you line it up with the side. Now I want to make sure there's no black left after I push this out. So I'm going to go a little bit bigger than my black window, and I'm going to push the point of my compass into the paper, and I'm just going to run it down, pushing pretty hard. So I'm going to just do it twice, and then I'm going to do that along each side. So what this is doing, this is just pushing through the paper. It's weakening the points around where I'm pushing through, and it's sort of cutting through it. You might be able to hear it, that the paper is just being ripped ever so slightly while we do this. When I go to score for the folds, I won't be pushing anywhere near as hard as this. Okay, so then I go to the back of the paper, and you can see there that it's just about to come out. What I'm going to do is, just to make sure it's a clean break, I'm going to go over it once more on the back this time. All right, now before you begin doing anything else assembly-wise, we need to put our window on. So now you're going to take your plastic container. In my case, let me see, does this sticker come off easy? Okay, so sticker comes off easy. It gives me this really nice window of material to work with. It's actually much cleaner than the rest because of that sticker. So I'm gonna cut my top off. And I'm just estimating right now, I'm just getting a piece of plastic that could work. So I'm just gonna basically cut off all of that kind of ribbed and perforated pieces and just get a square of plastic. Now, if you are really thinking ahead, like say you're doing this as a teacher and you've got a group of kids, a piece of plastic like this should be able to do multiple windows because you're looking at the size of that window and the piece of plastic. I should be able to get, I would get probably 2 or 3 windows out of this one. All right, so then when I line it up on my box, I can see roughly, how big I want. Now, I do want it to take up a lot of space because I'm going to put glue behind it. So I want to make sure that I'm kind of like, it's like my window is quite low to the bottom. So I want to make sure that I'm inside the dotted lines and I'm inside on all sides. So my height is actually fine. And I just need to make sure I mark my width. So I'm actually just going to get my ruler out again. I'm going to give myself plenty of space. It's not, I don't need to be that close. And the tip of that compass is great here again for just putting a line in. Now I can see, I don't know if you guys can see that on the paper, but there is that line that I want to cut through. So I get my scissors out and cut along said line. Okay, so check it for size. Looks good. Now we need our glue stick. And what I would do before I put the glue on is get your compass out again, get your ruler, and just score the lines around that kind of side of the box. So this time it's a much lighter scoring. All I'm looking to do is encourage the paper to fold here. I don't want to tear it. I'm not trying to punch through it. So I'm going to make sure I'm as lined up as I possibly can. And I'm going to just kind of lightly go over that with my compass. So it's enough that when I go to fold the paper, it will just naturally fold over those lines. So when I flip it over, now, again, I don't know how well you can see this, but I've got my 3 lines that show where the edge of my box is. So that tells me exactly where I can paste my piece of plastic. So for the plastic, just checking again, fits nicely. I'm actually going to trim a little bit off the top because it's just a little tight for me. So yeah, it didn't need to be as close as it was. Now it's much better. It fits with a little bit of space on all sides. Get my glue stick out. Glue sticks work fine here. I'm using an Elmer's just washable glue stick. And I love these purple ones that you can actually see where you're gluing. It's very helpful. I'm going to try and get a really thin line in here on the bottom. So plenty of glue. And then get your window and position it in there. Again, make sure that it is inside of those fold lines. We don't want it to mess with the folds of our shape. And just flatten it out. There we go. So our box now has a beautiful window. So you can see windows there. It's glued on the back. Glue is drying. We don't have to wait for the glue to dry to do this next piece. We can just keep going. So what's up next now is scoring the rest of those lines. So anyone that is a dash line needs to be scored. That again allows the folding to happen. Doesn't matter, which side of the paper you're doing right now. We just want to put a light line in and then we'll fold it in the correct direction in a second. Okay, so I've already done bottom across and top across, and I've done this one vertical. So I want to make sure I get all the rest of my dash lines. So I'm going to start at the top here. Okay, so all score lines should be there. Check the back. Let's see, can you find all of them? All right. All right, so let's get into making this box. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to fold the sides in the direction that we want them to go. And this is an important step to do because it's going to help our box kind of just fit together nicely when we're ready. So for each of the tabs that are sticking out, with the exception of the top two, they're going to fold towards the inside. So we're going to flip our shape over. And again, you've got your score lines there. So when you start to fold, you should notice that it just very easily finds the fold line that you're looking for. And it should take hardly any effort to get it to fold that way. The sides will fold in as well. And then you're also going to fold down at the top and make sure you get over by that coin slot because it's a little bit thinner. All right, and then the other one is each of the verticals is going to fold in. All right, and then the last one is the top two tabs, and they are going to fold towards the outside of the box. So remember, they're going to come together at the top and push together to be the top part of our box. Now the triangles, these ones are, you're going to fold on the outside, so you can see the M is for Money logos. You're going to fold over those, just get enough of a line in there so that the box is comfortable folding in. So it's starting to go that way. You don't need to fold the whole way over and flat press it. You just want to make sure that the box is going to go that direction when you need it to. So if you pinch at the top and then fold over, it should be moving to. Over the corner. And the last one. Okay, so everything should be ready to fold in the direction we want it to go. Now it just becomes a case of using your glue stick and putting it together. All right, got your glue stick? Let's go. First one, tabs on the sides. So we're going to glue those and then we're going to press them until they are stuck. So glue stick out, make sure you got plenty of glue in here. Now I have seen double-sided tape used, which works really well. So if you are fortunate enough to have double-sided tape available and not the thick stuff, like the thin double-sided tape, that works great for here. So you got your glue down, and this is going to go on the inside of the opposite shape. So it's going to go overlap on your window slightly. And once you kind of got it in place, now you can sort of extra fold, make sure the edges line up. Get it in place and then just hold it down. So my box is kind of flattened at the moment, which is fine. And then I pop it back up. When I pop it back up, we've got our prism shape ready to go. So next up is the inside bottom part of the box. So there is one flap marked outside flap, or inside flap, I'm sorry. And that one's gonna go on the inside, and then the blank one is gonna go on the bottom. So you shouldn't see any writing when you're done. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put some glue on the two shorter tabs. So we're gonna put it on the part that is visible when you look at M is for Money, so the outside part. So when you fold those in and then push the inside flap in, it's going to stick to it. So again, it's on the outside when you look at the M is for Money logo, and then same thing on the other side of the box as well. All right, so now when we fold in our two tabs and then push the inside flap down, inside flap should stick to that. And then the other one, so the other outside flap, now this one is not on the outside of the box, is on the inside. We're going to put a bunch of glue as well. So then fold up that bottom. And now what I like to do is either get a pencil, a ruler, the glue stick itself, anything like that. So I put the cap back on and I just kind of get in there and push it all down so that it's sitting on it. If you have something heavy that'll fit in there, it's even better. So like a phone does a nice job sometimes. So now we've got our box completed. It's still got to fold in at the top. So what we're going to do is we're going to push the two triangles in towards each other and then pinch the top together. So you should notice then the you get that classic milk carton shape. Now, if you let go, it's just going to pop back open again, which is exactly what we want. We want to be able to get back into this box again. We're going to cut out the band that will go over the top of this in a second. All right, so take your money box, put it to the side. Next up, we need our squirrel character. So you have the band at the top here, which we'll cut out in a second. We'll do them all together. But I want you to have your kids color this in first. Whatever colors they want. It does not have to be a classic looking squirrel. You know how it is. Use your imagination, make it as fun and colorful as you would like. So let's see. Okay, so we've got our colored in squirrel. Now notice I just went over the edges here because it doesn't matter. You're going to be cutting it out anyway. So if you're like, doing a quick example as the adults, doesn't matter. On the squirrel part, the front part, try and stay inside your lines a little bit more, but if it's on the outside, it does not matter in the slightest. Okay, so we're going to cut on the solid black lines, and we're going to cut out the band at the top. Do not cut the dashed lines. Let's go. Okay, so at this point you have your squirrel cut out, you've got the tail, and you've got the band. We'll start with the band. So what is going to happen with this one is we're going to fold it on the dotted lines. And if you want to be very precise with it, get your ruler out again, score on the dotted lines. So that again helps guide where the folds are going to be. And I'm going to do very light because actually, while I've measured it myself when I created the document, I always find that I have like a little bit of adjusting to do. And I'm going to fold it in so that the black lines are going to be less visible. Okay, so you're going to get this nice band. What we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue on the inside of this last tab, and we're going to glue it down, and then we're going to quickly put it on top of our milk carton design to make sure that it fits. And we're going to adjust as needed. So you might need to make it a little bit bigger or smaller. So I'm just like taking my thumb and I'm just kind of making this fold a little bit looser so that it can adjust for me as needed. Just put a spot of glue in there. So now when I get my milk carton, I want to wrap it around the top and then come around and close it. So it's going to pinch through. I'll show you once again. So on my milk carton, I'm going to pinch it closed, wrap my band around it, come to the other side, and then just make sure it wraps around nice and tight, but still will slide on and off pretty easily. So then once you've got that sizing right, make it a little bit bigger so it's easy for kids to get it on and off, and then let it set. So put something heavy on it if you need to, just let that set off to one side. So we're at the final stages now. We've got our squirrel. We're ready to attach him to our money box. So we've got money box. As soon as that band is ready, I'm going to put it on here to close off, but it's not essential for right now. We're going to be gluing to the white sides of the box. So what you're going to do is look at your squirrel. It's going to sit on the exact bottom of the box, and you're going to center the feet so the feet don't stick out on either side. And then when you look at the back, we can see that it's going to come up to just around the eye level is where we want to glue. So we want to glue above that because we don't want it to stick to the open close part of our box, just the part that's set at the bottom. So I'm going to come back here, and I would just eyeball it, hold it to light, whatever you need to do, but just put a little marking in to say okay, I want to glue under that. And now notice I colored in the back of my pieces as well, so that when they're on the box, there will be a little bit of it visible on either side. I just made it brown so that there was something there and it wasn't white paper. And then for the tail, it's going to be the same idea. So the tail, you can kind of position this wherever you want. It doesn't really matter where you put it. If you want to hide the black, you can do it the other way. I would say don't put it right down to the bottom. it's sort of like up a little bit. That's where the tail would attach. So that means that we're going up to where the dashed lines are in our box. So it's going to be kind of like, I'm just going to put my finger on here and hold it. And I'm going to come over to the other side. And I want to do glue under that. So that would be there. So I'm going to glue under these and then attach them to my box. Now there's no front side or back side to the box that we have to worry about for a functionality purpose. So it really is whatever you prefer. But yeah, get plenty of glue on there. If you go over the edges of the box, it's okay because the glue will dry clear anyway. And then squirrel character on the front. Just getting those feet right. Put them face down, and then the same thing with the tail. So we have our squirrel attached to the front. We have the tail at the back. So our squirrel money box is just about complete. Let's add in our band at the top. Hopefully it is set for you at this point. So just pop it over and squeeze it on. So there is our completed squirrel money box with a window for seeing your coins. So you drop your coins in, kids see them pile up, and then when they want to get to them, they just pop the band off and easily accessible. If the band is not working, or your kids are playing with it too much, or you want to say, like, let's set a savings goal, you can staple it or you can glue it. And you can say, like, when we want to access our money, we will have to destroy the box. And that means we've reached our savings goal. And at that point, you can just remake another one for your next savings goal. So that would kind of stop your kids from messing with their money too much, which I don't really encourage. I like them to be able to access it. I like them to be able to see it, to be able to count it, to check on it, make sure it's still there. You want money to feel like it is available and not something that's being kept from them in any way. So thus the window, so we can see it at all times. And also, just like kids should be playing with money as well. Unless, of course, you're worried about a choking hazard, in which case this is probably not the appropriate game or activity yet for that child. Age group for this, I would say, if you're making the milk carton, so like you're constructing yourself, you're probably looking at a first grade plus activity. If the kids are just coloring in stuff and you're cutting it out or helping them cut it out and pasting, then you can go as low as 3 years old. There's nothing on this that's like a choking hazard or anything like that, just the coins themselves. So as soon as you feel comfortable letting your kids handle coins, this can be a fun activity for them for storing their coins, and it's very easy to remake them. When you're printing it, I printed on just a basic cardstock. If you feel like you're printing on regular printer paper and it's too soft, consider upgrading to a cardstock. If you're putting coins in and it's getting too heavy, consider just cutting out like a circle or a square of cardboard and just sliding it in to reinforce the bottom, and that'll stop it from sagging. All right. Thank you so much for checking out my money squirrel bank. And if you have any other questions, please feel to reach out, misformoneybook@gmail.com, and check out my other resources at misformoneybook.com. See you soon.